I have started to feel changes, and those changes are I've been regretting that decision every day. My symmetry was just at the bottom, but it's also off. So, I've been complaining by the fact that I'm not feeling or seeing any changes resulting from me trying so hard at the gym and all of that. Well, I have started to feel changes, and those changes are basically me feeling hungry like crazy. Majority of the time, especially in the mornings, I wake up hungry at 6 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck? So that can only mean that the calorie deficit is there, and my goal is not to change anything about my diet. I'm not going to diet. I did have that problem before. Yeah, I was dieting before. It was bad. I was bulimic. It was horrible. So my plan this time around is to do everything in a better way, and I'm not changing absolutely anything about what I eat and when I eat. I'm just literally adding physical exercises to my lifestyle. So now that I am waking up hungry, I'm just trying to turn it down, trying to tell my body, hey, relax, you're gonna get some food when you have breakfast, and that's it. So changes started to happen. I'm happy about that. At least now I feel that all the effort that I am putting into this process is bearing fruit. Finally, it's a little bit more motivating. I'm going to the gym, and I bet you guys it will be so full because it's 6:30 and it's usually packed at this time, but I have no choice. I have to go because I've been working until 10 p.m. literally throughout the weekend and today, so I have to get out of that working zone. Oh my god, you guys, I really fucking smashed today's session. So I basically ran for 30 minutes. Halfway through the run, I was feeling a bit faint. I was like, fuck, I can't do it today. And then I fucking persevered and I did it, and I ran for 30 minutes. I started doing the workout that I liked last time. Same thing, halfway through, I was like, I'm so hungry, like my whole body is shaking from hunger. I really wanted to finish it. Halfway through, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it next time. And then I just continued, and I finished the whole thing, and I also upped my reps on that machine thing. Hey guys, it is the 14th of October and it's morning, and it's getting so cold outside, and it's so fresh and so amazing. It really makes me want to go just be outside and enjoy the freshness of autumn. Halloween is soon, and we're planning to do something for it. Do something with the cats, decorate the house a bit, just have fun with it. So no news on the jaw surgery front yet, and it's okay. I still have a good feeling that they'll get in touch with me scheduling the surgery this week, but if they don't, oh well, what can I do, right? So that's that. And one thing I wanted to say is that the gap I'm having, it's just not going away, man. It's just there all the time, and it's so visible. I'm focusing so much, but I'm really hoping that it won't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue, because the main thing is that my dental arches aren't moving anywhere, and I don't think they are, because they just can't move anywhere because the wires are keeping everything in place. So it's just this one tooth. Not sure how that happened. Maybe I'm thinking maybe I just slapped wrong and I kind of pushed it or something. I don't know, but it happened, and it is what it is. Emailed my orthodontist's office saying that, well, talking about the 7, 14, 21st day appointment, post-op appointment, letting them know that though I will push for the 7-day post-op appointment to happen with my surgeon, it may still happen with the orthodontist, and the 14-day one will be happening with the orthodontist as well. So I've asked if it was okay, and she said that my orthodontist is in the office once a month or something. I think she's changing company she works for or something, I don't know, so she's rarely there, but she said that she'll be flexible about it because it's a big deal, and I'm crazy grateful for it. Like, she's just got lucky on that front, you guys. My orthodontist is absolute gold, platinum. And in terms of my teeth showing or not showing, still haven't decided. it freaks me out a little bit, to be frank. Feel I just have to do more research into this and see. I'm scared that if they over-rotate it, I'll end up having a gummy smile, and that's not what I want. I don't know. I guess when my surgery gets booked, I'll just mention something about it, asking the surgeon to provide me more details about it. Okay, so I had another look at the surgical planning documents, and I've discovered some really interesting things that I want to walk you through. So what I wanted to pay attention here is the initial step. This table here shows what the norm should be and what my parameters are. So for example, SNA norm is 82 degrees and mine is 75. So it's 7 degrees off the norm, and SNA, if you Google it, it indicates whether or not the maxilla is normal, prognatic or retrognatic. In my case, it's retrognatic, I believe. And then my SNB is quite very close to the norm. It's what, 1 or 2 degrees off. However, if we look at an A and B measurement, it's minus 3.8, and this is an indicator of whether a skeletal relationship between maxilla and mandible is normal. Class 1 plus 2 degrees, class 2 is plus 4 degrees or more, or skeletal class 3 is 0 negative. As you can see, mine is minus 3.8, so it's quite an underbite that I have on a skeletal level. And then we have all of the other stuff like max bite, total facial height, mine is quite the norm, lower facial height is also quite the norm, and all of that is less interesting in my opinion. Another thing I wanted to show you is on the scan position and on the plan position, if you zoom in, you'll be able to see the yellow line, and if you look closer, you see that, well, the yellow line refers to a midline, and in my case, my midline is off, and my bottom midline is off by a larger degree than that of my maxilla, and I found that interesting. I thought that my symmetry was just at the bottom, but it's also off on my maxillary level, not just mandible. So this is where I kind of hoped they would do a double jaw surgery, where they would also slightly rotate this way and move my mandible over, but they're not going to be fixing that. This just shows how off my symmetry is, and I guess it's not too bad to be fixing. See, on the plan position, it will still remain the same. They're not fixing this at all. Another thing that I wanted to zoom in is the soft tissue plan, and it's interesting because soft tissue plans usually, in my opinion, don't show the truth to the extent that you would want it to be the truth. However, if you look at it long enough, you will see that the mid phase that I'm getting post-op, it is visible that there's less hair and there's more in the middle section here, because that's where the movement will be of my maxilla. It's quite small, however, I think it is visible, especially if you're looking at this area. So this is where the movement will be. So this is what I'll be getting more of a mid face. And the last thing I wanted to zoom in on is actually two things. So there's a plan position. Remember the first one I showed you? There was norm and my situation, and this is norm and plan. And I kind of want to look at this one better because it has the initial one as well. As you can see, the SNA measurement would be changed by 4 degrees, and this is the highest change out of all. So they would change it from 75 to 79, bringing it closer to the norm. And then there'll be an SNB change, which is quite minor because mine was fine already, almost norm. And this A and B change would be the biggest as well after the SNA, and A and B stands for the skeletal malocclusion, skeletal relationship of maxilla to mandible. They'll be bringing it from minus 3.8 to 0, and 0, as we know, is still an underbite, but it's much closer to being a normal occlusion. This is the most important change. And then other changes that will be happening is all of those. I guess they're not as interesting to see, but these two are the main ones. And the last thing I wanted to zoom in is this. So maxilla gaps. What it shows is that when they move my maxilla forward, there will be gaps here. This gap would be 1.3 and this gap would be 1.2 millimeters from this angle, there'll be a 3.8 versus 3.9, so it'll be a slightly bigger gap here that will need to be closed with titanium plates. On this side, there'll be a 1.6mm gap here, and this 0.4 stands for interference, and I believe that the interference means the bit of the maxilla that they will be moving will be interfering with my skeleton, I guess. So they need to cut it a little bit so maxilla sits fine where it needs to be. As you can see, this interference is 0.4, however on this side the interference is 1 and the gap is 1. So yeah, having spent more time with this made more sense to me. At first, I guess when I was showing the scan, I was all excited and I wasn't paying attention to any details. I was just wanting to see whether it will be an upper or a double, or you know, just the top level overview. And now, having spent more time with that, I see more clearly what every single thing means. It's just interesting to analyze and to see, and you know, I hope that it was interesting to you as well. And I hope that when it comes down to your surgical planning, I hope that you would adopt that healthy level of skepticism when looking at them, because recently there's been cases where, in my opinion, the surgery proposed wasn't the correct surgery type and the movements made weren't good enough to achieve the result that would be the most ideal. And I believe it's our responsibilities to be checking all the surgical planning, because every surgeon is different, their opinions vary, and us being us, doing all the research, spending time on social media, on these groups dedicated to this surgery, talking to other people, we become really educated on the subject, which makes us quite knowledgeable, which gives us that extra level of skepticism that you need to have when looking at that, as opposed to being all excited and going for it, trusting a surgeon fully. I think that we need to be able to doubt things, and we need to be able to be sure of the plans proposed, be 100% sure, because once it's done, it's done. Doing the surgery for the second time, if something isn't fully fixed, or if you're just not happy with the aesthetic side of things, would be a mission. So getting everything resolved with one surgery, I believe, is something very important. So analyzing the scans, proposed movements, all of that stuff is very important, and being okay with that, because that will set the expectations that you will have and going into the surgery. So important. You know, sometimes you just get out of the house and then like a minute later you realize that you look like an absolute, I don't know, homeless person. Like, I've been wearing these trousers, I think I've been wearing them for a month. Anyway, so I have another word of advice for you guys. Recently I've chipped out on the cat litter and I've been regretting that decision every day since we started using it. I saw this super chip litter and I was like, let me try it out, you know. The stink, the level of, I can't breathe in the house anymore, you guys. Whatever happens in your life, do not chip out on that, ever. Literally, never do that to yourself. I'm going to the shop now to get some really nice smelling litter and some cat stuff. So it's that time of the month when the cats need to be washed yet again. They've been literally asking for it, so I hope that this time around they won't be splashing water and crying, because it's what, third, fourth time of us bathing them? Yeah, let's see how they behave this time. Did you see that?
She already knows.
She knew. She's the smart one.
She knows. Lynette, look, it's a bathtub. Do you want to go in? Oh!
When I first got Lynette, I thought what would be a good idea is to use...
She's suffering so much.
Yeah, all of them. Is to use a hairdryer to dry her. It was a very bad idea. So now that they've grown up, maybe, and they've been around me when I'm drying my hair, maybe they'll get used to this. So I'm gonna try and do that to speed up the process. This is what I used to do always with... Who was it with? I don't know, with my animals. So let's try this out and see how crazy they're gonna go. Check this out, we're trying to clean them and all three of them are hiding under the bed. So Mia, Lynette is hiding behind everyone, and Lara.
I let go and she's staying.
So Lara's been sleeping like that, upside down, for about an hour with his head hanging. You realize now you're falling over, don't you? Such good stretch.